fuck this. I mean like aggressive and repeated stabbing levels of fuck this. Excessively fuck this game. I don't like horror games particularly. The only ones I've ever really enjoyed were Alien Isolation, Until Dawn, and Among the Sleep. And this is a game that I have played from start to finish and didn't enjoy a second of. Okay, maybe there was one point where I was playing it and I thought, this isn't appalling. So let me break this down for you. Here They Lie is a first-person psychological horror game of godfuckery, hallucinations, and golden women. Do you understand? Good, me neither. So the game opens with this screen. Inviting, I know, but bear with me. When you start a new game, you find yourself in a void of nothing but train station and ghost. Now, there's this lady, and she's talking about giving it another go, and it being a big decision. Now, she's clearly talking about starting her second Dark Souls playthrough. Then you get on a train, because you clearly don't care. The screen flickers, and all of a sudden you're in a third world country, only it's possible to get on the train without Rahul pushing you off so that you can make room for his briefcase full of Stop! You can't say that! You just can't. That's not okay. Now talk about the game, you twat! Anyway, sorry. You make your way to the second carriage, where the lights flicker, and a furry gathering appears in front of you. Then it bursts into blood. Charming, I know. After you've recovered from the trauma of what you've just seen, you make your way to the next carriage, and then there is fire, and this is when it dawned on me that this might not be a particularly realistic experience. This is also when it occurred to me that this isn't safe. I mean, someone could get hurt. My psyche already has, but looking past that. The fire and flames follow you into the fourth and final carriage, before the carriage itself turns into syrup and melts as the gates of hell tear themselves open. A fucking demon man starts climbing out of the pot. We're here. What? The fuck was that? Alright, we're just gonna move on, okay. A voice states, "He is coming for you. You have to hurry." I've played this game from start to finish, and this is never explained. In fact, nothing is ever explained. And this is where my first main gripe about the game comes up. Nothing is ever explained. Right, brief sidetrack here. I love Journey. It's a 3 or so hour game in which you walk across a desert. In it, you play as some magical carpet lady, and it's amazing, and you have no idea what's going on. Nothing is ever explained, but in Journey, that's okay, because it doesn't actually set up anything that needs explaining. It's perfectly content to just let it be. Not like this clusterfuck, which sets up 150 questions and explains exactly one of them. The one it explains within the first few seconds, and that is, who is this woman and what is my relationship to her? The answer is, her name is Ada, and she is your ex. It might not be Ada, I might have got that wrong, but it's something like that. Now, this could be worked out by an infant who has suffered several brain hemorrhages because it's so blatantly obvious. But, sidetracking once, that's a sidetrack again. As you go through the game, you keep finding her. She's walking through different areas, casting a beautiful golden glow on the grey-scaled, depressing dimension that I seem to have entered. And this gives the game the very artsy feeling, which could be used to excuse the lack of substance and explanation if it didn't set it up to have lots of questions that genuinely need answering. Some of the questions include, what is this furry community and why was it forced underground? Was it nuclear war? Was it just war? Why is this community made entirely of furries? And most importantly, why do I care about this off-brand FNAF phone guy who calls you as you make your way through the destroyed city and other areas? However, more on him later. Have I made myself clear about my first gripe? Things that should be explained are not explained. So, you step off the train and find yourself in a more decrepit train station than the one you started in. Disembodied voice lady tells you to hurry, so you wander around the train station for a while. And you find a door with odd noises behind it. You open it and find a phone. That rings. This is where your first cryptic message comes in. Anyone have a problem with this? Nobody? Okay.
My pee-pee itches.
This is also where you discover the notes that are being left behind for you. Now these are bullshit. They mean nothing, and just like everything else in the game, they're never explained, so gloss over them. Upon exiting the room, you find Ada, and follow her to your certain demise in a dank, decrepit subway. After walking through the subway for a while, you step out into the street and find a payphone ringing, but nobody cares, so you ignore it. As you head deeper into this grayscale world of loneliness, it gets darker, and darker, and darker. You look up and find yourselves in the depths of an abandoned city, looking up at the sky. Then, just when you think it can't get any fucking scarier or weirder or anything, this happens.
In God fucking is that thing? I'm gonna go say hello. Hey, buddy!
What are you gonna do? You gonna 3, you gonna 4, you gonna 1, you gonna 2, you gonna 3, you gonna 4, you gonna 1, you gonna...
Oh, fuck! Note to self. Do not taunt the locals. They are not friendly. Now I'm going to watch these two... Yeah, there we go.
Welcome to the classic horror trope of thing that's barely human which is trying to kill you. Ooh, 10 points for originality. However, I do have to hand it to you, Santa Monica. This thing scares me. At least at the beginning. But after you get killed by it 2 or 3 times, it's just really, really annoying. And here we find my second gripe with not just this game, actually, but many horror games. It's not scary after a while. The environments certainly are eerie, but... Okay, this is something I kind of glossed over in my Subnautica video, but one of the big things that made horror games such a good genre for so long was the fact that what makes a horror game good is the feeling of helplessness while still having something you can do. For example, in something like Condemned Criminal Origins, you get melee weapons, and sometimes, if you eat all your vegetables, behave well for Santa,
You might get guns.
and this leaves the game feeling challenging, whilst also allowing you to fight back. You can defend yourself, so the enemies are fun to encounter. Not like this shit, where you go through the entire game with naught but a flashlight. You can't even punch these little bastards. That means that once your last 2 brain cells realise that you can't kill these things, everything scary about them goes away. Then nothing interesting happens for about 3/4 of an hour, which was very disappointing. The locations sure as shit are dark though, can you see? No? Me neither. You then see Ada throw some papers away and then immediately regret it. Then one of those annoying little shits that was attacking you earlier starts following you. So I spent a while bullying it because I am a bad person and figured that you weren't supposed to chase it, so the AI must be pretty bad. It follows you for a ways and then grabs you and leads you back to its sex dungeon where it has performed unspeakable acts on people to get batteries out of them. And it's here, this point, where the game goes from horror to just really, really strange. So after you leave BTEC Golem's sex dungeon, you find that the furry community have funded a fighting pit, and no, I don't know what that sentence means either. Here is where the game first gives you a choice of any kind. Beat the shit out of the thing that berated you for a while but gave you batteries, or beat a furry. Guess which one I picked.
You. Yeah, that's right.
Around here, I was thinking, finally, I get a weapon. This socket pipe could probably do some damage. But this dumb wanker just drops the metal rod and goes on with his day like he didn't just beat a defenseless man to death. Then you step into the underground, the area of the city that actually has people in it. It's riddled with disease and prostitutes and sex shops, and it's a disgusting place to be, and is done exceptionally well. As you wander around the city, you see these sex shops, strip clubs, and whores, all with these really unnerving animal masks, or possibly faces. People are killed and beaten around you. Small groups stand around looking threatening, and it's just so uncomfortable. And oddly enough, given that I am currently praising it for this is where we come to my third and final gripe with the game. It feels like it has something to say, but it's not sure what it's trying to say. Perhaps it's trying to say something about poverty. Perhaps it's trying to say something about prostitutes and sex clubs. Perhaps it's trying to say something about gang violence or anonymity or Blackpool. I don't fucking know. And perhaps this game would have been better had it tried to not do so much and actually accomplish so little. It's trying to be a horror game, a VR cryptic game, a deep, meaningful piece of art all at once, and it doesn't know how to achieve any of it. I don't know, maybe it achieves the VR version, but I don't know the VR headset. I'm not part of the 1%, so I don't know. What I'm saying is that this game tries to do a lot. It tries to have deep meaning and to scare you and to make you question so much about what you know. And all it really managed to do was scare me for a third of the 3 hours I was playing it, you know? So you spend a nice while walking through the city. This for me was the highlight of the game, as for the most part it dropped the typical horror game cliches and tropes for a more unique and unnerving feeling. All of a sudden, I found myself very much immersed, well done me, immersed, and very, very uncomfortable with the situation I'd found myself in. However, all too soon, this is dropped as you return to the subway. This is where the game truly loses what it was trying to do. The walls begin bowing, the corridors disappeared around me, and the small area I was left in began filling with blood. Like, what? What are you trying to do? I'm scared and confused and want to go home. Now, not long after this, the subway walls are dropped entirely for an area of floating rocks and more floating decrepit houses and these little shits again. And from here on out, the game isn't scary, it's just uncomfortable and ends its reign of terror with monotony and being just irritating. You're having to sneak past these annoying little things without a crouch button, and not being able to defend myself and having so many of them didn't make the game difficult per se. It didn't make it challenging or complicated, just really annoying and repetitive. I'm going to talk about the end game now, so have a spoiler alert and a 5-second escape opportunity if you don't want the game ruining. As you come to the end of this monochromatic landscape, the rocks begin to part. The fog thickens and you follow Dana through it and find yourself at the beginning of the game again? What? Why? What purpose does this serve other than to tell me that all of my efforts were useless? But wait, all of a sudden you're back, and the game is very, very red? You walk a little longer and find yourself at the edge of a lake with a Ferris wheel in the middle of it. You make your way closer. Todd Howard, who I previously forgot to mention, Todd Howard is chasing you down because you didn't pre-order Fallout 76, and he is so angry about it that he's killing off all your friends and family. He pulls himself out of the lake and has a bit of a shout, and to be honest, I really don't care anymore. Then all of his previous victims become visible to you. A sea of corpses. You continue to make your way closer to the Ferris wheel, weaving in and out between the bodies. And when you arrive, it becomes clear that this is no ordinary fairground ride, but a shrine, built in your honor by Dana. Then you walk through there and it gets all very confusing, and then the game presents you with a choice. Again. You find the man, who has the same voice as the guy on the phones, but looks like you. You find him in a mirror, and are then given the choice of whether or not you should condemn him and all of Todd Howard's victims to eternal damnation, or to save them. But wait, what incentive have you given me to save them? Oh wait, you haven't. So what, out of the blue I have the power to save everyone? What kind of an ending is that? That's dreadful. You're not giving me any incentive whatsoever. Smash the mirror, roll credits, and move on to an actually good game. The end. In conclusion, I really want to like this game. Really, I do. It feels like it has a lot of potential to be something great. But it just doesn't quite fulfill any of it. Like it's, it definitely, the lack of substance really takes away from the experience. Because as opposed to having an experience in which you find your way walking through a terrifying environment and all of a sudden at the end everything's explained, at least even if it's explained in a Deus Ex Machina, at least it's explained. But here it's just the guy on the phone, all of a sudden he looks like you. Why does he look like me? He just couldn't be fucked or get another model. You could have made him look like someone from the city. We couldn't be fucked. Like, what? Oh yeah, also there's a mirror. Smash the mirror or don't. We don't really care. What are you trying to achieve here? What does this game say? And that is why I cannot enjoy this game. I'm just not impressed.